Hi everyone, thanks for clicking on the video. Friday, June 6th, 2025, D-Day, if any of you remember your World War II history. Another beautiful day here in Lithuania. All week's been nice. During the day, around maybe 17 up to 20, but very summer-like. In fact, any warmer, and I really don't like it. I'm kind of grown sensitive to the heat in my old age. Anything more than about 20 degrees Celsius or 70 Fahrenheit is a bit much for me, especially if the sun is out. But again, beautiful week. We did have some weather Wednesday night, a good dump of rain, bit of thunder, lightning, some wind, but typical summer thunderstorm, nothing major. This week I'm going to give you guys an update, a little more detailed update on the greenhouse and garden. I know sometimes I just kind of show you the film, don't talk about each plant. Don't worry, it won't be too long, but hopefully you guys aren't getting too sick of garden and greenhouse updates, because basically that's mostly what I'm doing this time of year for several more months. But I'll try to keep it interesting if possible, and maybe you'll learn something. Or maybe you'll be able to give me some advice on something I'm doing wrong. But also we did do our hilling of the potatoes, some people call it mounding. Basically it's just piling up a mound of dirt around the potatoes after they start to grow a bit. I'll show a bit on that. And that kind of spurred on something I've been thinking about for a while, and again, I'll go into more detail later on, but that winch on the ATV, which has been working great, no complaints, but it came with a steel cable, and there's, certain issues that can happen with those steel cables. One is they start to fray a little bit, and they get those sharp little steel wires poking out, and that was happening to mine. Plus, they start to rust. It's just not the best way. The new and modern way is to use synthetic rope, which is as strong as steel cable, but a lot of benefits. So I did make that change. Oddly enough, my plan was to film the whole process and post it as kind of like a DIY, how to change out steel cable to synthetic rope. I did film it all and then realized, it was running a bit long. I'm sure it was going to be really boring for you guys. And more importantly, there's much better videos on YouTube that'll walk you through that. In fact, that's how I learned to change my own, as I looked at a video on YouTube, which was pretty good. So I don't know what else I'll have in this week's video. Kind of a mishmash as usual, but I do appreciate you guys clicking on the video. I'll try to do something different here in the upcoming weeks. Maybe get out to the city or so. Oh, that's actually one more thing. I do have a very short clip later on today where I was in the city at a shopping mall. Not real interesting, but it does prove to you that I do get out and about. Look at that, we got a car coming in the middle of the forest. I do get out and about every once in a while. So I guess with that said, I'll wrap it up, and you guys have a good week. Thanks. And here we're hilling the potatoes, and we're using the ATV, or more to the point, the ATV winch to pull the plow. That works great. We would have the option, of course, to use the ATV hitch and attach some long rope to the plow and kind of pull it along using the transmission, but that's nowhere near as smooth and consistent as using the winch, and the winch already comes with a cable. In this particular video, you can see it's a steel cable, but I'll talk a little bit more about replacing that later on in this video. And here's just a different vantage point. This is filming from the ATV. My wife was nice enough to sit on the ATV and run the winch lever to pull me through, and I'm basically just walking behind the plow. It's very easy. There's little effort. The winch does all the work. I just kind of got to keep it in a straight line. And here's what everything looks like when we were all done. Everything turned out real good, and it was a very easy thing. I think we did the whole thing in probably 15 minutes. And here's the little plow we were using. It's a great little thing. We bought it used at a flea market, or what they call turgus here in Lithuania. But obviously it's used. Obviously it's homemade, but it's a nice little thing. I think we paid 35 euros for it. And definitely made of some strong steel. You can buy them brand new, but they're nowhere near as strong. And like I said, this one works great, so we stick with it. Just sitting here at a shopping mall called Acropolis here in Klaipėda. My wife's on an appointment, so the dog and I are just waiting in the car. But very big mall, very modern, very nice. Tons and tons of stores. I don't come here often because I don't like to come to the city, but it is a nice place. That high-rise building that maybe you can see there, it's a fairly new or fairly recent high-rise apartment building. What you can see, the top, I don't know, 10-15 stories are cloaked in fog. So normally the top story apartments are the exclusive, expensive ones for the view. I don't think they're getting their money's worth today, but eventually the fog should burn off. Hi everyone, figured I'd give you a little bit more detailed update on the greenhouse and garden. Don't worry, it won't take too long, but strawberries continue to do well. You can see lots of flowers, and not only do we have flowers, but we've got little strawberries, quite a few of them actually, so shouldn't be too long and we'll be eating strawberries. By the way, this stuff on top, they're actually shells or the husk from buckwheat. A lot of people put straw in their strawberries, hence the name strawberries, just to keep them off the dirt, and it helps for other things. But we decided to try this buckwheat husk or shells. I kind of think it's just going to blow away, but we'll see what happens. Radishes are about done. It was an excellent year for radishes. Of course, you can grow them all summer, but it seems like they kind of get a little woody and they start to split if they're still growing when we get the warm weather. So wrapping that up, I think my wife planted some spring onions here in this empty spot that used to be radishes. Our salad greens are gorgeous. We eat a lot of salad. Got some cilantro. I think that's cilantro. Maybe it's some kind of parsley. Maybe it's celery. I don't know. I can't really tell until it gets bigger. Got some kohlrabi, which I do love. These are leeks, coming along nicely. I think that's what we call patasones. I think maybe in America, I don't remember what we call them. My mind's gone blank, but they're tiny little gourds, tiny little pumpkins, very delicious. I think here we've got some spinach and I don't remember what else. This is more onions. It's pretty much the same onions as in here. We just planted them several weeks later. We'll have 2 batches. Obviously, I just mentioned the onions doing quite well. In fact, I think every one of them came up. I don't think we had one that was a dud. Garlic looks great. I'm a little worried maybe I'm over watering that. Your garlic can rot if you overwater. Swiss chard and beets, we're gonna have to separate them and thin them out and replant. They're kind of in clumps, but that's by design. Carrots continue to come up. These 2 rows on the right hand side is what they call early carrots. The other ones could just come up a little later. They were planted at the same time. Peas are growing like crazy. You can see they're reaching out with the stickers or the fingers to grab onto that fence, which, you know, when we get the wind, they definitely need to hang on to something. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing some pea pods soon. We're going to plant outside cucumbers here in the very near future. Of course, we've got cucumbers in the greenhouse, which I'll show in just a second. We've got some random cilantro and greens just kind of sitting there in the meantime. Obviously, I showed will show in a separate clip, hilling of the potatoes. You can see we built up the hills around our potatoes. Those are growing great. These are those sour little berries that we love so much, and these are more of a wild strawberry, or I think they're called jamagus. They're white and red. I'll show that later on this summer. Very delicious, a lot smaller than the domesticated ones. Not sure what that is, some kind of a pumpkin or a gourd. This one is red currant. This one is black currant. That's just decorative. We've got, sorry about the, excuse the mess, but we've got some dill and a pumpkin growing out of our compost pile. May not look the best, but you'd be surprised how well things grow right out of the compost pile. Asparagus, we're still getting a lot to eat. Obviously, we do let some of it go to seed. Those are the taller ones. That's by design. We've got yellow and green beans here, and zucchinis here. Hopefully those will come up just fine. These are those high bush blueberries, or šilauoges, what we call here in Lithuania. You can see all the little white little blossoms. Should hopefully be a good year. It's a very thirsty plant, have to water an awful lot. I think there's some oregano, some various other greens, parsley. This is some kind of a garlic type plant. It tastes just like garlic, kind of spicy. This is just kind of a green onion. Chives, sorrel, to make soup out of that. And to wrap things up here in the garden, not much change as far as, I can see my wife's got to fix this one, kind of tipped over. That's the point of having all these strings. He'll be fine, but strings support them as they get heavy. But I just showed this a week or so ago, and you can see it's grown a lot in here. A lot of flowers on the tomatoes, and you can see here the peppers. We already are getting peppers as well, quite a few of them actually. So everything coming along nicely here. Cucumbers growing like absolute crazy. They're gonna have to be restrung as well, but hope that brings you up to date. Thanks everyone. So as mentioned in previous clips, I decided to replace my steel cable in my ATV winch with synthetic rope. And rather than giving you the long-winded version, step by step, just suffice it to say I did get it done. Basically, it's just removing some of the parts. I did have to replace that guide, or that roller that was allowing that steel cable to go in and out of the winch. That doesn't work with the synthetic cable. But basically, it was just taking the parts off, taking things apart. The tricky part was getting the old cable disconnected from the roller in the winch and getting the new cable connected to the roller in the winch. There's a tiny little 3mm screw that kind of secures that. But everything went well. Thanks to watching a YouTube video, I learned how to do it, and I think everything's fine. So it's done. It wasn't as bad as it probably could have been. A few parts were a little bit tough. That being said, I'm kind of glad I decided to do it myself rather than pay the shop to do it. Plus, I learned a little bit. It's always good to learn something. But obviously, I haven't used the winch yet, but I suspect it'll work just fine. I think this synthetic cable is going to be a lot better than the steel cable that I had. Theoretically, it's as strong, if not stronger. And, you know, I won't have this fraying and rusting and all the other stuff that goes along with steel cables. So thanks for coming on the journey with me. And here's a fleeting glimpse of a couple deer near the house. And I'll leave you with a video of a stork that was hanging around in our yard earlier this week. Thanks for clicking on the video. Have a great week, everyone.